Okay, here's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if it's still played the same way, but here's the thing. I never figured out what the hell I was doing. Do you know that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when I was a kid, growing up in Vancouver, as a kid, you're always looking for like things to do, right? And you had heard about Dungeons and Dragons. And then one day, I walked into some comic book store and they had a bunch of like small silver like figures, like avatars, like tiny, like a dwarf, like a druid, and like a dragon, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what those were for. So I was just in there to buy comics, and I saw them, and I'm like, "What is this?" And it says like Dungeons and Dragons, right? And they're like pieces you use.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't remember too much,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, this game, like." Seems really fun. It must be really fun, right? And I wasn't allowed to have video games and stuff. So I was like, this looks really fun. So I bought like a really cheap like Dungeons and Dragons starter pack kind of thing, brought it home, and then I opened it up and I thought there would be like rules and stuff. Like I thought this would be like a pretty straightforward board game. And then I'm like, wait, it doesn't even have the pieces that I saw. Like what the hell's going on here, right? Like what is this? And then there's like, I don't even remember if they had instructions. So basically, Dungeons and Dragons is you just get around and you just make up stuff, right?
I think that's just, the rules are made by whoever is moderating the story.
Yeah, so that person just grabs stuff like out of his ass, right?
Yeah, definitely cool guys.
Cool.
Like,
they sure do.
like you just
and
make
it tastes
stuff.
like cheesecake.
Okay, would you rather eat a cheesecake that tastes like literal shit? Okay?
Yeah.
Or literal shit that tastes like a cheesecake. Oh, you just this episode, oh my God. Started with Haru's voice and just went to shit. But anyways, like that's basically what it is. The moderator just makes up stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then like
But
like,
but they come into prepared.
it's like, hey, Elf, you have to roll a 9 or something to get past this fire dungeon. And then you roll a 9, and then he's like, You've passed the fire dungeon, and now you can fly. And just make shit up, right?
Well, the dice is like your probability of achieving your goal.
Okay, but the goal or whatever, the stuff,
Yeah.
is all just like the moderator just making things up as you go. It's like an unreliable narrator just making stuff up as you go, right? Or did we play this wrong? Because I swear to God,
there's like certain things that are decided about your character and their capabilities. So there are they're not like that many limits. But for example, like once you choose what type of...
Oh, you were really into this, Diane.
No, I learned it in like the 20 minutes I played once.
Okay.
And I also used to listen to Dan Harmon on Harmontown, him playing D&D.
Yeah, true.
And it was really good.
It feels like you played 20 minutes a day for like 2 years. Honestly, but
It sounds like you're projecting right now.
no, I'm not ashamed of this.
You're trying to act like you've
seem
never
to
even
be,
heard of
like
it.
you have something to hide.
Well, I'm just explaining a question you know, honey boo boo.
But anyway, so and then, but you do make stuff up.
Yeah.
Like all the situations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I must have been playing it right because this whole I remember playing this with like some friends. But I never understood what the hell was going on. Like I went a whole year like playing this occasionally and not knowing what was going on. And to this point in my life, I will look back and not understand what was going on. And then apparently they're making a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh.
Right? And here's the thing. It's like, how do you make that movie when it was just kids all over the place just making shit up? Like, how do you make a movie? Like, where's the one story?
Maybe it's just
What's-
a story about kids playing Dungeons and Dragons. And
Like,
then
I don't
you
get
go
it.
into the world.
I honestly don't get it because I remember I played once with this like older kid that came to my house because like his parents were, you know, like church friends with my parents, and then they came over and all the parents went out and then left us like in a literal dungeon, and he's like, oh, you have Dungeons and Dragons, and he saw my starter pack, and I'm like, yeah. And then he brings it out, and he's like, I'm the best moderator ever.
Oh, like Dungeon Master.
Yeah, and we're playing, and like he's saying stuff that like clearly, I'm like, this isn't the way this is supposed to be played, is it? But I really still haven't figured out how. So I'm like, okay, this must whatever, right? And he's like,
You roll a 2 and I don't kick your ass.
and I'm like, what are you talking about, right? And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I don't think he was
Okay.
a very good moderator then.
but you know, like he's just making stuff up.
yeah.
Right? And things are like anachronistic and like and not belonging to this world because this is supposed to be like medieval.
Yeah.
Okay? But this guy's like,
Okay, now you have, you rolled a 7. Now you have a jetpack.
and I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm the moderator. This is how you play this. And just things happening just that don't make sense.
I think he was just a bad moderator. He clearly just wanted to control the story.
Well, anyways, and that's how I felt about Dungeons and Dragons in general. I was like, I mean, shouldn't there be at least one story to govern all of this? You guys didn't have you've never played with some weird guy like oh, no, okay. I hope
that you
not.
met at a comic book store.
But what I'm saying is like they would do things like, okay, so now you're like in the enchanted forest walking down, and now you have to roll like a 7 or something. And then I rolled a 7 and I didn't know what would happen then. And he's like, okay, the druid sticks a magical like broom up your ass. And I'm like,
Okay.
what?
I think you were bullied
I'm
via
like-
the vehicle that is Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. What do you mean? Like, what do I do? And he's like, now you have to roll a 9 to like
take the
to
stick
take
out of your ass.
take the stick out of your ass. And I'm like, I don't have a stick up my ass though. And he's like, well, you do because I said you do. Anyways, that's Dungeons and Dragons for me.
Stick.
You loved this clip, didn't you? Go listen to the whole episode on any podcast platform. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications on this channel so you never miss a thing.